This is episode 191 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and today we're joined by Marcel. Got tabled on stream, but still an ace, Manzano.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I should get bumped down to rookie from that game alone. I petitioned that.
You petitioned? Your petition's been denied. Will, I burnt my mouth. Hagwood.
I'm not sure if it was the hot pizza or the spicy mayo.
And Ryan, revisiting Will and Marcel's takes from last week. Staniszewski.
A certain someone said Luminara was C tier, and a certain other someone said Republic might be one of the worst factions. And I feel like both those things might have been answered incorrectly at this most recent event. Spoiler alert.
Listen, we put it out into the universe, and the universe gives it back. Okay? It comes right back to us. Now, before we go too far, today's episode is brought to you by the upcoming Sigma Flight Club Qualifier. We just had the Alpha. The Sigma Flight Club Qualifier is happening February 6th and 7th. Earn a spot in a championship event, and every single player, no matter how you do, ends up earning a championship a championship event to play at their level. Go to goldsquadronpodcast.com to get your ticket. Now, one of the new things that we're starting to do on our website, which people have been asking this for a while, and here it goes. We are now starting to post result info on the website. Okay, so right now, under the Flight Club section, you can click on that results button. You'll see who the winner is, the runner-up, the faction breakdowns, and also some pertinent links. One of the really important links that we do have in there is this spreadsheet. In this spreadsheet, we have the rank assignments, the ranks that each player earned during the event, as well as top 8 in the faction. All the players were tagged with this. I think it's important for you guys to double check because, you know, there could be errors. We do have to go through it manually. And if you find a mistake, let us know. Remember, the top 8 in faction is per Swiss, not the cut. I do have to point that out. It is per Swiss, not the cut. So feel free, go to goldsquadronpodcast.com, take a look. We got the List Fortress link, the tabletop TO page, and also the data analysis by Pink Brain Matter. Now, today is all about that Alpha Qualifier. We had a huge event, 170 players signed up. I think we ended up firing off with 160 and change, and we got a lot of lists to go through. And usually we read the lists one by one, and we're gonna go through them. Some of the more generic lists we're going to maybe gloss over. No offense if you brought it. That's cool. But really what I want to focus on today is what are some of the different things that weren't necessarily as meta relevant prior to the previous points update, maybe starting to shine now. A quick note about this qualifier, it was extended. The Sigma qualifier is also extended, but after that, the rest of the events are hyperspace. And one of the things that we'll talk about then is how did it evolve? We don't know yet. It is still percolating. People are looking at it. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So we're going to start here, not with the stated top 32, but we actually had a couple of people, because of the way the Flight Club Championship works, only your ranking in Swiss matters your number of wins in Swiss matters for your ranking. The cut is just for the glory and some extra prizes. So we had some players drop from the cut who actually did really well, and I want to make sure we look at those lists because you know what? Maybe they're being a little sneaky, guys. Maybe they're trying to hide something from us. They're like, I don't want them to talk about me in that top 32 show because they might let out my secrets. All right, and we're starting right here at Swiss rank 31. Matthew Lerock here, Warthog, 3 Arc 170s. We know that's really good. Bring those generics. Now R4P, we did talk about that being a really good buy for the Republic. It is awesome. Ryan, what does that droid do?
You're allowed to spend a charge to decrease the difficulty of a basic maneuver. Means not K-turns, not sloops, not Talon rolls, not reverses, not zero stops. But 2 charges, and they don't reoccur. So you spend 1, goes away, spend 2 goes the other one goes away. So you get twice a game. You get to make any of your basic maneuvers one easier, making those 3 turns, for example, on the arc white, or any of the other white maneuvers into blues. So if those arcs want to barrel, they got more maneuvers to do afterward.
That's right. And now here's something real interesting. At Swiss rank 29, Richard Owen III. Take that, Will.
All right, Richard was flying a 2-ship build here. That's Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Delta 7 Aether Sprite. He's got supernatural reflexes, R2-D2 for some shield recovering, Delta 7B to get that 3 attack dice full arc, and a shield upgrade. With him is Anakin Skywalker in the Eta-2. Oh, it's just a joke. It's the Eta Actis. I was just trying to trigger some people. Don't worry. Anyways, he's got Lone Wolf, Auto Blasters, R2-A6, that's a dial changing droid, and Stealth Device. So actually a pretty tanky Obi-Wan out there. Could have up to 9 health. 2 from R2-D2, 1 from the shield, 6 from 7B, right? Mm-hmm. What's the bid on it? 11-point bid as well. I am interested in the, what do I want to say? The R2-A6 over something like the new crit droid. Was it R774 or something like that?
Mm-hmm. So he's favoring that. R2-A6 is the one that allows you to change the speed of your move, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, and actually Marcel asked us about it in on Republic Breakdown if R2-A6 counted as a reposition to essentially get a triple reposition Anakin here. And apparently Richard had used it to great effect getting into the top cut.
Now, do you guys remember on the initial release of the Delta 7s where people were flying only 2 Jedi? This is even more risky than that, though. You got 3 hull each. I know you got the shield upgrade as well and some of the regen, but man, this feels like flying on the razor's edge. Is this something you would fly, Marcel? Something like this?
Probably. I've not in a tournament, I don't think. This to me feels like something obviously Richard would fly, but also this feels to me like a Nick Tobin.
Yep, it does remind me of Nick Tobin for sure. Yeah, that is living on the razor's edge for sure. Now this list go ahead.
Real quick, it's funny for me because Richard Owen is a local of mine, and he was mainly known for bringing Obi-Wan either 3 arcs or 3 Y-Wings or 4 Y-Wings. So he was on the Obi beef train for a while, and that's a huge swap over to being like, I got Obi, but now I have just ETA to Anakin.
All right, well, while we got you, Ryan, let's take a look at the Separatist list. I found this really interesting. A 3-ship, I don't think I've said 3-ship Separatists ever. The Josh Futch coming in at 4-2 in the 28th in Swiss.
So we have Zam in the firespray with Lone Wolf, Count Dooku concussion bombs. We have General Grievous with Marge, Sable Closure, and Solus One, and the Onderon Oppressor with Discord missiles, cluster missiles, freelance slicer, and repulsor lift stabilizers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I saw this when I was about to hop on my next stream. So Will, I think you commented and you guys had this on stream once.
We did.
Yeah, we had it on stream for sure.
Yeah, man. Basically, in this list, Zam did all the work. Zam did all the work. She did a lot of the heavy lifting, and General Grievous and that HMP, they do enough to like draw fire. You got to get, what is that? You got to get 105 points or 106 points, and make sure you keep Zam alive after that.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's a difficult decision potentially to make if you have Grievous on one side of the board and Zam on the other.
Yeah,
because you don't want Grievous flanking. But you don't want to let Zam live most of the game because that's just double shot,
yep.
And just charge it up as much as you can. And then that HMP is just side slipping around every little bit, just circling the field. First time I'm seeing a solid use of Discord missiles on the HMP though. Not a bad place to put Discord missiles where you can. They don't exactly always need their calculate as much as other droids because they don't have network calculations anyway. So, and they're 1 agility anyway. So if they can use it to put something on a ship like a Discord missile, all for it. I'd be curious how often he actually used Freelance Slicer though. Like I get he has network aim, but he also doesn't have Dark One probe droids though, which is normally a staple when you do bring at least an HMP.
Yeah, I would say in the game we had him actually. Lionheart 286 was his opponent that we had on stream. They played together, and remind me if I'm right or wrong, Lionheart. I think you won that game. I could be wrong, but yeah, we didn't see Freelance Slicer trigger then. I'd be curious to see what happens. There was, if I'm remembering correctly, Will, again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Grievous got in a couple of bad spots, which is where Josh kind of was on his heels early in the game. Okay. Oh, Lionheart was round 6, so maybe it may have been earlier, but still a cool combination of ships there. And one of the things that we're going to see really consistent here, Zam is good. All right, we have definitely identified Zam, both crew and pilot, S tier, 100% S tier. Yeah,
but I would say if I were to adjust Josh's list, I'd probably get rid of the Freelance Slicer. And if you want to jam something with a target lock, just throw false transponder codes onto Zam. As we're about to see in many of these lists, that is also very effective.
Yep. Remy at 18 brought a pretty classic 4 T-70 X-Wings and Vi Marati with and all those X-Wings have BB Astromech. Now this is the one I want to take a second and talk about. Alex Smittle bringing the Scum Swarm here. Go ahead, Marcel.
Okay, so you got basically seven cartel spacers, 2 thread tracers, 2 tractor beams, 2 ions, and a jamming beam. This is modifying a little bit what Octocon has been bringing throughout 2020. You lose the Fang fighters, but you gain an additional ship, plus you get mods for everybody, and everybody's essentially rolling 3 dice, at least in the first few engagements. No matter range 1, 2, or 3, everybody's got 3 dice, and a lot of those are going to be double modded, thanks to the tracers. And I wonder how often he probably used jamming beam to try to strip a token in order to get the threat tracers in, to then put in the rest of the tractor beam, and then just go down that way. Surprised that there's no auto blasters on there, but
hey, you know what though?
You said they ain't 3 dice.
Let's look at this though. Octocon brings Fang Fighters, or brought Fang Fighters in this type of list. Can we just talk about the prevalence? The only thing that changed here is we got thread tracers, right? We got thread tracers, and just showing the power of, you know what? Instead of bringing these 2 3 dice attack ships, let's just take 2 more. Let's get 3 more M3As in the list, and take a couple of thread tracers, and it ends up evening out in the wash with that extra ship. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
This list archetype of 7 spacers also has the easiest name as well. Spacers and Tracers.
There you go. And also, Hyperspace Legal.
Hyperspace Legal. Bow, 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 bow.
Tractor beam?
Tractor Beam and Ion Cannon are the 2 cannons available in space.
Not Auto Blaster isn't. That's
correct.
right.
Auto Blaster is not.
Which maybe, you know what? This might be a strat on Alex's part. I don't even need the crutch of Auto Blaster, because I'm gonna bring this now into the Ace Championship, Hyperspace Championship, and I've already practiced with my list. I don't have to worry about changing anything. There is a strategy in that, playing your Hyperspace Legal list in Extended.
Actually, is the Ace Veteran and Recruit Championships, are they Extended or Hyperspace?
They're all Hyperspace.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
All Hyperspace, all 3 of them. And that's big. I will tell you, you know who inspired me to make it all Hyperspace?
Is it this guy?
I don't know. Some, you know, when we were like, wait, I hadn't realized. I was like, wait a second, you're right. These players can be like, oh, I'm just going to tank so that I can play in the extended recruit. And I was like, nope, never mind. They're all hyperspace.
Wait, are you saying me?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying players that said stuff like that. You know, I'm not putting any names. I'm just saying players that said things like that.
Well, I tried my best to make it to rookie. Didn't quite work out.
Okay, now we got to talk about the biggest flex. The biggest flex of the weekend. Samuel Dameron, okay, goes 6-0, top in Swiss, and says, I'm not going to play tomorrow. He goes, no, I'm good. 6-0. Let's go ahead, Marcel. What is this list?
So you got 5 Y-wings for the Republic. 3 of them with ion turrets and proton bombs, and then 2 of them with dorsal turrets and proton torpedoes. Super interesting, especially with no easy way to get those locks at Initiative 2. So, very interesting. I wonder how many times he got it off. Probably after they got ioned them and then knew where they were going to be, maybe.
That makes sense. But, you know, we haven't really seen the Y-Wing perform, this BTLB Y-Wing perform well. And I think as most people they look at Broadside a lot of times, and they want Anakin to be good. But the value you can get on the generics is just so good. So good. Man. All right. So now we get into the actually played in the top 32 here, starting with Steven Crouch. Now, again, some of these lists we're just going to kind of roll through. Some of them we will do a full read because I think that they deserve it because they're just a little bit different. Go ahead, Will. Let's start with Steven Crouch.
All right, this one is a little bit different. We got large bases for Scum. That's Namlam with proton torpedoes, auto blaster, Zam, Dengar, and contraband cybernetics. We have Bossk YV666 with Forlom, Zuckuss, Greedo, Deadman Switch, and Electronic Baffle. And Han Solo with Trickshot, 000, Agile Gunner, and Lando's Millennium Falcon. So this is a Namlam that Marcel had experimented with as the you shouldn't shoot me, Namlam, with Zam and Dengar on there. Plus the proton torpedoes for those bonus attacks. Yeah, Party Bus Bossk there with his 3 friends, and has the electronic baffle Deadman Switch, so you could even shred a lock and explode, stop in place, and just blow up everything around you as your final health. Very, very funny. Then the Han Solo there, really just efficiency. A lot of extra dice, free actions between 000 and Agile Gunner. And hey, if you don't want to give me the calculate, you want to take the stress, I'll just roll an extra dice with that Lando's Millennium Falcon. Definitely something I always thought that was like just on the cusp, being that Han Solo and Bossk are so cheap. They should easily be able to throw a third ship into there. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised that it worked, but I think this is the the best showing of a Han Solo I've seen anytime soon.
Yeah, in recent, for sure, 100%. All right, as we kind of go through here, Jorge Casanada has some Rebel Salad, couple of X-Wings, Wedge, Jake, and Lieutenant Blount. I mean, this is what I would consider pretty typical Rebel stuff. Just throw in a bunch of ships plus Jake, and you're going to do pretty well as long as you're pointed in the right direction. And now we got more weird stuff. Take it, Ryan. Belinda Mood. Brian Lindamood.
Running Scum using, we'll start with Fenral Fearless. Seems normal so far.
Yep.
Captain Nim, expert handling, dorsal turrets, skilled bombardier, proton bombs, thermal detonators, havoc, title, genius. Okay, kind of a standard NIM, but normally kind of weird to put bombs with Fen in the same list.
Yes.
Kind of make him susceptible. But NIM could say stop it, and might be safe. Then we also have Sol Sixa with elusive, dorsal turret, Cad Bane, skilled bombardier, seismic charges, thermal detonators. So two Skirg bombers, both named ones, loaded with bombs, plus both dorsal, and Sol Sixa with the sneaky Cad Bane boost after the bomb drop, which I believe elusive requires a red maneuver, which that would not count as a red action. I'm double checking right now. Curious how often elusive actually matter, because it's not a card I'd normally see on anything in Scum with 1 agility unless you're 4-lob.
I think they only have Talon rolls as the red maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there you go. Here you go. Brian's in the chat right now. He says 12 bombs for your fun. I mean, yeah, there's tonnage of bombs there.
How careful did you have to be with your Fen? Because I feel like you'd have to be extremely careful. You almost, like in some cases, you have to be worried not to limit yourself so your opponent knows what Fen can and can't do.
Yeah,
but
I want to know how many times he hit his own Fen Ralph is what I want to know.
Yeah, it is his decision to throw the bomb, so it is on the opponent to try and guess, did Fen go in or did he bomb? Because it's one or the other.
All right, look at the flex here. Brian in the chat says, never bombed himself once. Skill. I like it. All right, cool. Very cool list. Now, next coming up here, Michael Turner. We'll probably cover this archetype only one other time here because it is going to pop up a couple times. But double fire sprays making another appearance here. We got Django and Zam. They're two fantastic fire sprays out of the Separatist. What does change is what upgrades you end up choosing to put on it and whether you choose to invest more into Zam or into Django. But one of the most consistent things you will see is Count Dooku will always be in the list. Count Dooku will always be in the list. Now, let's take a second and talk a little bit about Count Dooku because we haven't really seen him be played consistently up until now. What is it about the double fire sprays that makes it so that people are playing him now?
I wouldn't say double fire sprays. I'd say fire spray, period. Because Count Dooku before him, the only ship that can really carry it was the Darth Maul and the Scimitar. And you can't even put it on Dooku, which is probably the best ship of those. So you were putting it on Darth Maul or one of the other ones. And they just don't have the tools to take advantage of what Dooku does. Like, doesn't have a back arc. They're not really dropping bombs, and they're just not good. They're bad, and you don't want to throw an extra 10 points on a bad ship that's only going to shoot every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting the mechanic there. And here's the thing about Dooku: if you're not familiar with the card, it says that you can essentially, before a dice is rolled, at any point, attacking, defending, council fires, obstacles, for not only yourself but for your enemy. We saw Will and Ryan. You guys were co-commentating with me this weekend. It was more than once where we saw ships get killed from an obstacle that was Dooku'd.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Probably. Also, thermal detonators is a rolled dice.
Yes. Bombs. All of it. Oh, my goodness.
Yep, I know firsthand. Thermal detonator turns to crit.
Whoo, man. Good stuff. And Will, our runner-up, spoilers, our runner-up also had a double fire spray. And since he was the runner-up, we're going to assume he had the best loadout. And we'll cover that a little bit more. Christopher Tanner bringing a pretty not standard, but a droid swarm. There was a bit of a mistake and misunderstanding here that we do gotta cover. So if you see here, Christopher had the proximity mines on the bombardment drones and trajectory simulator. Marcel, you said you had you spoke with him during the event.
Yeah, I played him in the top 32, and. Yeah, what he said he plays in his local group. His local group, they didn't know either. Mm-hmm. And then he found out in round 2 that that it doesn't quite work that way, that you can't toss proximity mines.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that the trajectory simulator affects this particular list. And for those listening and not watching, the list is what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Trade Federation drones, 3 of them with Discord missiles, 2 of them naked, and then he's got the bombardment drones with proximity and trajectory simulator. Because those bombardment drones can drop it out the front anyway.
Yeah, with the one straight, right?
Yeah, they can drop it out at the front with the one straight and then drop it out of the back. So they don't lose that much. So we were talking about it, and on a list like this, you have 13 points to play with. One of the things that you probably want to play with is throw a couple delayed fuses on there so you can drop it in front of you and just fly over them and not worry about that since you're moving at a low initiative. And also maybe throw a couple extra thermal detonators on there. Some threat tracers on those Trade Federation drones that are naked, just to get more 3 dice out there and more stuff. So again, he made top 32 with this and basically put 13 points in the recycle bin. So if you take those 13 points and just add more toys to it, it can be even better.
Absolutely, yeah, and that might have been the confusion as well. It's like, oh wait, if I can launch these proximity mines out the front, why couldn't I trajectory simulator? And the reason that is on trajectory simulator, it specifically denotes bombs, and the proximity mines are mines. The square ones, the little square ones, are bombs, and them as a group are called devices. Which it's that differentiation in language there. But again, Christopher Tanner, congratulations. Now, Marcel, go ahead and take a look at this one, because this is an appearance of I did not expect to see one of these pilots in this list here. This is Julian Galdoic coming in here with the Rebel Alliance.
I'm pretty sure you mispronounced that, but I will mispronounce it again, so I'm not even going to try to fix it. So he's flying Dash Rendar with Trick Shot, Piston, Perceptive Co-Pilot, Shield Upgrade, and Outrider. A variation that you can take many different ways, but it usually has at least 4 of those upgrades always. And then Benthic 2 tubes on the U-Wing. Benthic 2 tubes is the one that you can toss focus tokens to a friendly ship, correct? That's the ability. When you take a focus token, you can pass the token off.
When you take a focus action, you can pass one to a friendly at range 2, up to range 2.
Yep. And then he's got Dead Man Switch, Advanced Sensors, Jin Urso, which allows anytime that a token is gained, not necessarily when a token is action. When a focus token is gained, you can convert that into an evade. He had Perceptive Co-Pilot and something else because Dion covered the screen with some other. I'm looking at the stream screen. There you go. Perceptive Co-Pilot, hull upgrade, and the pivot wing. What are those called?
Configuration.
Thank you. Configuration. So essentially, what he's doing, he's giving Dash Rendar focus, evade, and throwing Benthic in there to just muddy stuff up until he dies and Dead Man Switch pulls off. He's got enough life to where when he throws, he can keep that focus evade to himself, or he can toss it over to Dash Rendar. Gives him a lot of flexibility, and very, very smart list building. I like it.
There was 7 appearances of Dash Rendar this weekend. That's a lot. It's a little more than I was expecting. I know some people had been looking at Dash before the points change, but people still keeping a look on it. Coming up next, Brandon Carey had 4 T-70 X-Wings. Again, we know the T-70 X-Wings are strong. The secret sauce here, all of them with heroic. Took the Black Squadron Ace at Initiative 4. Is it Initiative 4 or 3? I'm doubting myself now. It's initiative 4. They can take heroic, and then you got Tem and Wexley, who can make those S foils open and close at will. Give them calculates. I love Tem and Wexley. That T70, the new one, Heralds of Hope, super good. I'm expecting to see more Temin over time. All right, Will, Demetrius Stavropoulos.
Can you just scroll down for our visual watchers? I was going to say visual listeners. I do want to make a point there. Great use of the combo of Tim and Wexley's free calculates to trigger thread tracers on some of those X-Wings. That's big brain in that.
Oh, I hadn't even noticed. You're right. Thread tracer. You know what? I forget that that it's a hard point on those T-70 X-Wings that can take multiple rather than just a torpedo slot. So yeah, being able to take thread tracers there, pretty sweet. Big brain. Tycho1707 in the chat.
Oh yeah, just proving how versatile and amazing thread tracers are. Anyways, we have Demetrius here bringing Scum and Villainy. We have Dengar with Swarm Tactics, Proton Torpedoes, Ion Cannon, Maul, and Contraband Cybernetics. Bossk in the YV666. I gotta say that as if someone would fly a headhunter version of him. But yeah, he's got Trick Shot, Perceptive Co-Pilot, Lando Calrissian, which lets you spend green tokens to reroll, Greedo, Contraband Cybernetics, and Hull Upgrade. And then supporting them is L337 in the Escape Craft. So, interesting, because of the Swarm Tactics, you can get Bossk to shoot triple modify his shot there with the Perceptive Co-Pilot, Lando Calrissian, and Greedo. Do it at I-6 so you can trigger that Greedo before anybody else can shoot at you. Dengar should get a second action, probably a focus from L3, and then he moves up and target locks for the proton torpedoes. I could definitely see this thing just deleting whatever is in both those arcs, right? A double modified proton, and then Bossk shot as well. Could be very, very nasty.
Now, Marcel, you said you played him, right, in round 6, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, and it hit really hard. I mean, the game was fast because we got into it like right in the center. We just jousted, basically. And the only thing that I think the advantage was the interaction between Swarm Tactics and Bossk, because I got him to bump his Dengar into Bossk. And Swarm Tactics is from range 1, not from range 0. So he wasn't able. So I was able with the initiative 5s to get, to make choices about who I'm shooting and basically not get initiative killed. So Swarm Tactics does not work at range 0, but it hits hard. That is so scary coming in, and he's got all the mods, double mods on both of them at initiative 6. And just splitting those crits into doubles and all that other fun stuff.
Watch out, watch out. Now, next coming up here, Steve Catillo here. We have been talking a little bit about the Eta-2's newer ship. People are trying to find a place for them. And we had Steve on stream twice. And, this is a list that I think I would love to see Steve play this again with a little more practice and time, because I think this has some legs. We got Ahsoka Tano in the Delta 7 with C110P, that's Chopper, being able to, after you execute a maneuver, jam somebody at range 0 to 1. Also allows you to get a couple of red evades in order to trigger it over to the erratic side. You got 7B giving you that third attack dice. So an Ahsoka that not only can also use her ability to essentially have a pseudo coordinate people even while they're stressed. Then you got Obi-Wan and Anakin both in the Eta-2 with R5 Astromech and Hull Upgrade. And what this list has, they got maneuverability, they got actions for days, and they have tons of like a combination of self synergy where they can help themselves with their abilities, but they can also, in the right situation, be able to help each other. Anakin has that ability, being able to help out Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan back to Anakin. Now, that's something, there were some missed opportunities during the game that didn't happen. Ryan, you remember. You were commentating with me on that one, I think.
Yep. So I commentated Swiss game and the beginning Elim game as well. And there were definitely times where I felt like he was missing an opportunity to trigger, especially Obi-Wan's ability. Because going up against Matthew Carey's force ship, Scum, and, well, Obi-Wan kind of got deleted early on that one. We'll get to Matthew Carey's list later. But especially he was going up against a Rax Lone Swarm, and Obi had plenty of opportunities to trigger his ability to change out a force for a focus. And then also, we were talking about it, like, this is one of the few triple ace lists that actually has a lot of tools to handle Sloane because of Anakin's ability as well. And Ahsoka's with her ability, can be stressed and still take actions. I'm going to go on record right now. That Ahsoka is dangerous. Really good value. Not exclude Chopper part. Just 7B Ahsoka right now is extremely good value. With Chopper, added value across the board because of how her ability works. She can use the evade side or she can use the jam side because she already gets 2 actions anyway with her ability. So she could, if she has to eat the jam herself, she can still end up getting a token anyway.
Yeah,
but I think
so
people need to start looking at that Ahsoka and at least in the 7B config in extended, and whether or not you take Chopper on her or someone else. But that Ahsoka should be a building block, I think, right now for any 3 or 4 ship Rebel or Republic list right now when it's built around other aces that are in the list.
Yep. And the price is right now. Ahsoka has been slowly lowering down in price and right now is 100% playable. And shout out to our patrons who have that super sweet Ahsoka alt art that we printed that like almost a year ago, and now the time is now. All right? So when we get back to in-person play, I want to see some of those on the table. All right, next we got Kenneth Lyon. Up, pretty standard thing here. We got Hollow with Proud Tradition, 3 Synars, Silencers. They're good, they're fast, and Hollow does great things with tokens. And, you know, it's something that we've seen before. Really good first order play there by Kenneth. Matt Newt here. I was surprised by seeing this. Take a look at this, Marcel.
All right, so you've got a 6-ship Rebel list. He has 4 Cavern Angel Zealots, which are the Initiative 1, not the Initiative 2 that come in at the same points as the Initiative 2. And then 2 Bandit Squadron Pilot A-Wings. Z95s with Tracers. So essentially he's got 2 Tracers, Z95s, and 4 X-Wings. A 6-ship list that, again, throwing 3 dice. When you throw 3 dice 6 times, you're going to get rid of things, and especially if they come in double modded.
Now, why the Cavern Angel Zealot? Like, I'm not.
Oh, because of the initiative. Because you're at 200 points, and you want to get those bandit squadrons to. Because those bandit squadrons are initiative 1, right?
Correct. They are.
Yeah, so you want to be able to shoot the tracers so that the zealots can take advantage of the target lock and shoot target lock focus.
So this is one of the rare senses where if you have the option to go down in initiative, it's probably better.
Yeah, so it's the what was it? It's one of the only times. Remember, in
adaptability.
Adaptability is one of those times that you would go down to match a lower pilot.
Oof, never again. Anyway, it's all right. If you're a newer 2.0 player, you don't need to know. We're gonna move on. That's a part of history we don't need.
That's a deep cut.
Now, Dale Benyon here, bringing a combination that I was a little bit surprised here for First Order. We got Kylo. We know Kylo. Blackout, that's fine. But double silencers and then bringing the Gideon Hask Psi Shuttle with Agent Terex. I guess I wasn't expecting to see a single shuttle like Gideon that is so slow be played with these 2 aces. Like, any thoughts on how this worked? Did you guys see this being played?
Can you read his ability again?
Yeah. So Gideon
I'm going to
has.
say, go ahead and read it.
No,
Yeah.
you. All right.
Well, so Gideon's ability, to me, makes no sense with these ships because he's only going to trigger when the ship throws 2 attack dice. Because then it's, I believe, Dion, it's while a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 is attacking, if the defender is damaged and 2 attack dice are rolled, the attacker may take a strain to roll an extra attack dice. But these are silencers. So
Right.
I don't know if he took Hask because he wanted a little bit of a bid and have an I4 coordinate instead of an I2 coordinate from the courier generic. That I'm curious about. Gideon can mention in the chat. Gideon does work on himself though, so maybe upping the attack on the actual shuttle to get a 3 dice attack from the shuttle when he's not at range 1.
Basically, being like, look at me, I'm the Lambda now.
I think the point cost difference between the generic and that isn't that far off, so it may just be okay. I mean, Gideon's only 2 more points than the generic, so I guess you may as well take Gideon. You got an I4 coordinate instead of an I2 coordinate.
Yeah, and you also get 2 coordinates because you can coordinate, and then you can also then toss a token afterwards as well.
Because it does have Agent Terex. You have Agent Terex on Hask, Fanatical on Blackout, and the Extreme Maneuvers Kylo Ren. Probably one of the best ships to have that card right now.
Extreme Maneuvers, super good. Jefferson Jimenez, we got more Rebel shenanigans here, but we see the appearance of a Rebel Hawk. Take a look at this, Will.
All right. That Hawk is Jan Ors with thermal detonators and Molded Crow. Jan Ors is the one that takes a stress to increase an enemy or a friendly's attack. Dutch Vander is with her as well, with racking a dorsal turret, ion torpedoes, R3 astromech, and concussion bombs. We have also then Jake in the A-Wing. Of course, it's a Rebel list. And Woofaro. Or Woofaro. I don't know. I never pronounce it right. But so essentially, this is a hilarious combination that I truly love as a Rebel jank 4-ship man. So the concussion bombs, you can bomb Woofaro range 1. Dutch reloads the bomb, so he doesn't have to keep dropping them. The Azatuk then takes the damage, triggers his ability to get an additional attack die. So now his stat line's 4-1, 6-2, something like that. And then when Dutch is now going to give this ship a target lock, Jake's going to give it a focus, and Jan Orens is going to say, nah, 4 isn't good enough. Why don't you shoot 5 dice? And it is just, man, the closest thing we have in second edition to just like a real railgun. Even Ray doesn't hit as hard as this Wafario does. That's 6 dice in range 1. You can't roll any more dice than that.
Hey, I got a hot take. You ready? You got a hot take for everybody. Jake needs to go up in cost. I think he's
too. That's the funny part. He just went down by 2.
He's too easy.
He's dark only, dude.
He's too easy. But the problem is that he is almost an auto include in Rebel lists.
What?
Almost an auto include.
So Dio, let me pose one question. What Rebel lists are so good that you're concerned about Jake being auto-included in it anyway?
Well, any list with Han and Jake is a threat. People just don't like to fly it. I will tell you that. I think right now one of the best Rebel archetypes is Han, Jake, and something else. And people just don't fly it because it's boring. All right, or it can be boring, okay? I'm just saying, not calling out anybody who's doing it. You fly what you fly. And we actually did see a really entertaining game of somebody flying a similar archetype. But overall, like, it requires a lot of patience in there, all right?
I'm still playing angry.
Listen, I'm here to entertain you. And you know we got to have some hot takes sometimes. All right. So
I mean,
I just worry. What I worry about is not necessarily like Jake right now is fine. Rebels are fine. But if it stays so cheap where it's like an auto include, we're going to hit a point in Rebels where enough things come down in price and Jake just becomes an enabler. You know, I'm just saying I'm a little worried. Just a little worried.
Maybe AMG will address your concerns.
yeah, how about we get Merle's cost up first before we start worrying about Jake?
Oh, that's another one. They're already dead in my line. We've already passed them up.
But yeah, looking at this list, this is another this reminds me of the Rebel shotgun I played at Crossroads that used Braylon Strom, the scary, a little more self-sufficient because it didn't have Dutch. Use Braylon rerolls to get the 4 dice and the 5 dice, but this is a 180 arc with a 5 dice and a 6 dice. I mean, that is dangerous for sure. Dutch has to kind of put himself in harm's way sometimes to maybe get those locks if it's going up against higher agility ships. But if you got this 180, it's just a giant angry hug. I've been calling this list the angriest Wookiee.
There you go. You know, and some people in the chat are saying, well, Dion, if they got rid of Jake, they get rid of the RZ2 A-Wing. I mean, the RZ1 A-Wing. Would you think that Jake was still okay if he could shoot out the back too?
Well, he'd have to pay more points.
I mean, he'd have to pay for that. Of course, he'd have to pay for it. But I mean, I'm just saying. Like, according to what we've seen with like things that have been spoiled randomly out there, that there's a good chance that that's coming for A-Wings. And I'm just worried about Jake. Just look. Listen, I'm just saying, I'm placing a flag here, a mark on episode 191, where Dion says he's a little worried about Jake. And if we come back here, great. And if I'm wrong, I'd rather be wrong.
I will say Jake was 36 before the points update. I was totally fine with that. I had no concerns. I didn't feel like he needed to go down, but he went down. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure when the points update before that, when he stayed the same price, I put him into the win category for Rebels of staying cheap. So, you know what? They throw him a bone, man. Come on. All right. Name another Rebel ship who can boost and barrel roll in the same turn.
Crickets. I don't know.
Yeah. Nobody, it turns out.
Well, I mean, technically any A-Wing. They just don't get it like an actual modification.
Well, I mean, just that alone, there is no other ship that can do it naturally. So, yeah, just let them have their fun. 2 attack dice, pew pew. Come on, help your friends.
Technically, supernatural or precog Luke can, but that's
okay. That's point. Man. I mean, afterburners you can slap that on a Z95, and all of a sudden it's boost.
Oh yeah, all right. So if you're talking about no upgrades, just the base chassis, then
no,
you'd have to start talking about some Sabines.
Sabine, yeah.
Oh, that's pre-position though, not reposition.
That's better.
I mean, maybe. Anyways.
I love poking the bear. I love poking the bear. We got to do it sometimes. Come on. All right. Now we got Casper's Boulins bringing a Scum salad here. We got a couple of Z95s, M3A. We know that they're good, and 3 Kirax fighters. There is some value there. I think their points went down just a little bit, and we saw a few Kirax fighters throughout the tournament. Craig Walker, Boba Gurry, we know that that combination's been good together for a really long time. And then we get to Matthew Carey, who brought a really fun smorgasbord. and
on who's on what end of that list.
Correct. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead, because I think this is really neat.
I got the opportunity to cast when we had Matthew Carey on, so let's start with some of the easy ones. We got Paylob with Multi-Crow, but brought false transponders, because you know what? After you're done banking up those tokens and stealing some, why not lock them and jam something else off of them, or jam something else and get rid of a token from someone you're not shooting. You got a ton of combinations to have your own tokens and hoard them and get rid of other people's. I'm the only one allowed to have tokens here, not you. Then we got a Black Sun Ace that is a Kirax I3. Then we have Captain Seevor, another terror of tokens. And then we have Dengar, who has proton torpedoes, auto blasters, Greedo, and Zam crew.
Our stream got exploded. We were talking about Dengar and
Having Zam crew.
Having Zam crew. Why is this good?
So Dengar already gets his own bonus attacks after he defends. If the attacker's in his front arc, you may spend 1 charge that he has to perform a bonus attack against the attacker. Basic, right? But then you're like, well, why do you have Zam? You can't do 2 bonus attacks in the same turn. Here's why. Because you can't escape the bonus attack this way. So what happens is, now Zam crew, all the charges for Zam, which he only has 2 as crew, not the 4 like the pilot. 2 crew, both charges start face down. You have to charge him back up. Quickest way to charge him back up, especially when Dengar is a very hefty target that people want to get rid of. And likely going forward, the most common condition that we're going to pick for Zam is the "you should thank me." This version is this condition is assigned face down, reveal after you defend. So after you defend, you reveal that card, and that card is revealed until you have to assign a new card in the next system phase. After you defend, Zam Weisel recovers 1 charge. So recover a charge. Cool. We want to get those charges back up for Dengar. Then you may acquire lock in the attacker. Awesome. Now my revenge shot has a modification if I didn't have one before. Or I could pick a different ship that shot at me and then shoot my second proton torpedo, or that we saw in the stream against Steve Couture. He did not really pay attention to the combination that was about to happen because Dengar shot Obi with a proton torpedo. I think he did like 1 crit. Didn't do as much. He spent a lock. He's like, all right, my Obi's going to shoot him back, and his revenge shot isn't going to be as good. But then he got the lock because he had this card, and then he shoot the second proton torpedo, and that was hit, crit, and Obi died. Which was sad Obi. But, so in continuation, say you have charged up the rest of Zam crew, and then you say, all right, my opponent decides they don't want to attack you because you have them in front arc. They don't want to give Dengar that revenge shot, right? But at the end of the engagement phase, if this card is face down, so if they never attacked you and Dengar never defended and you have those 2 charges, you can reveal the card and spend 2 charges from Zam, and if you do, perform a bonus attack. So once you have those 2 charges up, the opponent is pretty much always going to get a bonus attack going against them unless their ships are not in Dengar's front arc. Then they could potentially attack him and they won't get that return fire unless he decides to use the better you'd better mean business, which is the one where when he defends, you can perform bonus attack against the attacker without having to worry about the arc. So you could use this Dengar's side arc if the user of this Dengar with Zam crew knows that they're not going to get that front arc attack.
I think if people are flying Dengar and not Zam pilot, how do you put anything but Zam on a Dengar? I mean, just it seems like a really good value.
Zam's so good. She's making Zuckuss look good.
Man, yeah. So
name a crew carrier that Zam couldn't benefit from going on.
That's
Wouldn't it
right.
be sweet to shoot 4 dice twice with Zuckuss? It's better than just once.
Would that be sad or not?
I have started to see people, I don't know if it ever showed up in this event, but people have starting to use Tirani Kolda with the R5TK Astromech with cluster missiles and munitions failsafe to lock their friendly ship, shoot them, deny it with munitions failsafe to charge up their own Zam crew before going into the fight.
We, in fact, did see that, and we're going to get to that in the top 4, I believe. It made that shenanigans made the top 4.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't Zuckuss, though. I think it was a different ship.
It was a different ship. It was Tirani. All right, so we got Matt Carey, cool list. Then we got a couple of typical ones that we've seen here. 4 H&P gumships, flavor to taste, a couple of different things there. We have Michael, that's Johnny Ray. Then Michael Kozera bringing pretty much a classic. Triple Imperial Aces, Vader, Echo, Grand Inquisitors, super strong. Mark Worrell bringing a 2-ship list here, Kylo Ren and Tavson. This is something that we saw early in 2nd edition. Hadn't really seen it much. Kylo, supernatural reflexes, advanced optics. We got Tavson with hyperspace tracking data, Commander Pyre, and Supreme Leader Snoke. And with that hyperspace tracking data, you're able to get Kylo in evade on that first turn, and you are going in. You're going zooming in people's face. It is a really cool list, and if you can manage those Tavson actions, it is better than you think on the onset. At first, you're like, oh, I can just get behind this Oopson, and everything will be fine. It's harder than it sounds, so watch out for that.
Got usage of Commander Pyre too, so whenever Kylo decides he wants to go hunting, it's going to be a little bit debuffed a bit in the beginning.
Then we got another variation of spacers and tracers from Stephen Parker, opting for a torpedo spam on 5 of them, and having the Z95s carrying those thread tracers. Some more resistance salad, 3 T-70s, the Reds with Rose and Zari. That's been a pretty common archetype out there. The next one that we get Octa Khan, the originator of the spacers and not quite tracers from the past, brings a different variation. 3 with tractor beam, that's 3 cartel spacers with tractor beam, 1 naked, and 4 mining guild sentries for a total of 8 ships. That is a swarm. You don't got to be in a formation, but you got a lot of tools. I'm guessing he's probably bringing rocks with him as well, those big potatoes.
I would love to see that list with 1 tractor less and 2 tracers. So 2 tractors, 2 tracers, and 4 TIE fighters. Would love to see that. Well, would hate to play against it, but yeah.
Like, that'd be great, except, no, never mind.
Yeah, 2 tractors, 2 tracers, 4, yeah. Ooh.
Love to see it, hate to play it against it, technically.
Yeah, obviously, super skilled player, really likes his Scum shenanigans out there. And I'd love to pick his mind. You know, he's probably sleeping right now. He's on the other side of the world. But you know, I wonder if he thought about the tracers, or maybe it wasn't something he practiced with. I don't know. Interesting. And then we got a classic Marcel Manzano style list. Take a look at this one, Marcel. This is from Kyle Borgelt.
Yeah, Kyle Borgel. And actually played Kyle Borgel too. So that was I complimented him. We played top 16, and yeah, I love this list. Obviously, it's near and dear. So he's flying Obi-Wan with Delta 7 and a regen R2 astromech, Mace Windu with Delta 7, R2, and Sense, and then Rick Ole, because I think the apostrophe at the end, or the little accent mark at the end, Rick Ole, and Daredevil, coming in at 199, so double regen and a heavy hitting Rick. Yeah, and he flew it really well. I killed Mace and Rick right off the bat, and then he even flying after my ships, he was able to take that single Obi and kill 2 of my ships and get another one to half. Like, he did some work with that Obi. Flew it really well.
All right, we continue here, and we get an appearance here for the TIE Brute. This was a really neat list. Ryan, go ahead and talk. This seems like up your alley, buddy.
Yeah, just a bit. It was hard. It was a very interesting list to see because we had not seen many brutes in this top cut, and we had not really seen many of the named brutes either place in the past events we've had with brute play. But we have Lighten Dre, the re-rolling, giving friendly I3 named brute with synced laser cannons and target assist MGK 300s. 1 Alpha Squadron pilot interceptor, 3 TIE V1 Barons of the Empire, all with prockets. So some 3 really dangerous spike damage potential, and 1 single Obsidian TIE Fighter pilot, which I still kind of question right now, even though he made all the way to top 16, why that's not an academy for better blocking. You're not investing a lot of points into that TIE Fighter. It's only 1 more than an academy. Sure, you have a 2-point bid instead of a 1, but bids for I-1 isn't bad when you can choose who gets to block, move, and take up space against other swarms, because I feel like while this is a solid swarm, it has good tools, it has good spike damage. I think against other opposing swarms, it's not going to have the best jousting potential. The V1s might be able to delete something with those prockets, but for every extra ship there is on the board, the less valuable that gang up on a opposing ship procket's going to be. That really is meant to take down some smaller amount of ship lists, like 4 or less. Not saying this can't win against 5 or more, it's just it doesn't have the jousting potential. So I think I'd rather have 2 I-1s to block up some stuff that is I-1 or around that range below I-3, so that I can make the moves that I want and block up their swarm to lessen their efficiency.
Now, that 4-ship number you're saying, I think that's going to come back. We're going to talk about it a little bit later, because I think Florent has a very good strategy going through. We'll talk a little bit later about why the number 4 is so important. We got more Scum shenanigans. Will.
Oh, you're talking shenanigans. This is Tyranny Kolda with Snapshot, R5TK, and Contraband Cybernetics. We have Captain Justero with Deadman Switch, trying to trigger off those Tyranny Kolda abilities there with the double shot. We also have Constable Zuvio in the little space tug with Unkar Plut, Proximity Mines, and Deadman Switch. We also have one other person to try to trigger Captain Justero's ability, and that's Sol Sixa in the Skurg with Ion Cannon Turret, Skilled Bombardier, and Proxy Mines. Let me just read you, because this whole list is really built around Justero. I mean, it certainly does other things very good, but it's kind of just all around Captain Justero's ability that says, after a friendly ship suffers damage, if it is not defending, you may perform a bonus attack against that ship. So whatever it's a bomb, Tyranny Kolda's ability, Deadman Switch. It's very funny to get your bonus attack off your own Deadman Switch for Captain Justero. Super hilarious to me. The only thing that I really would like to dissect about this list is actually the combination of Unkar Plut on quad jumpers. I've seen this more and more, and I always question it. Let me read Unkar Plut for a second. Unkar Plut, 2 points. After you partially execute a maneuver, you may suffer 1 damage to perform 1 white action. And I think the thought process was by putting it onto quad jumpers is that you could bump into somebody and then take a damage to tractor beam them. Word of warning, though, the Space Tug Tractor Array does say choose a ship at range 1, not range 0. So you couldn't do the ship you're touching. You could in tractor beam someone behind them, of course. But I just see that used a lot, and it's what do I want to say? It's a nombo in that aspect of you can't run into somebody and then tractor beam them off of you. But other than that, we've seen Tyranny and Justero do very well with the Space Tug Array from Constable Zuvio, throwing people into mines, throwing them into the Ion Cannon arc. Just classic Scum jank here, and very happy to see it making it this far as well.
Yeah, that Unkar crew and Zuvio tractor shenanigans goes back to our very first ever X-Wing quick tip. The title was 0 does not equal 1, and that was on the onset of starting to get our brains around the fact that there are abilities that are purposefully starting at range 1 and those that are at range 0. But I will say a little bit about the way Unkar Plut is written. It almost feels like the designers wanted that to work, but then kind of designed themselves out of it. Just because, Unkar Plut is a quad jumper pilot as well. Like, it feels like it should work. It just turns out it doesn't. But I digress. We got a couple of Sloan swarms. Admiral Sloan with 4 Academy pilots. Really good there. Andrew Oler, known commodity there. Another variation on the Sloan swarm. Sloan, so good. By the way, I got a preview of a Galaxy winner, Charlie Clote. He commissioned he asked for an Admiral Sloan alt art, which everybody in the Flight Club Championship is going to be receiving. I just got the portrait of Admiral Sloan. She looks amazing. Oh, she looks so good. I'm excited to see how it all comes together. But he spent a lot of time on her because he wanted to make sure that she had the right presence. And it looks so good. Maybe I'll give a patron exclusive preview on that one after today's episode. Then we got some scrub named Marcel Manzano, who in the top cut gets tabled 200-0 with 4 A-wings with proton rockets.
I ended up in 5th. That's something, right?
Uh-huh. If you were in the chat and you watched that game, let Marcel know how that game made you feel. All right? Man. Whoa.
That's pass.
Do you want to pass on? Go watch the game, and you.
No, actually, the commentary after the game. I mean,
it was good. It was good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not salty about it. I didn't know what I was running into, and that's one of those situations where you run into a tournament and you don't know what you're playing against, or you don't know what your opponent is trying to do, and then you figure it out maybe a turn too late, and at that point, it's the fat lady already sung, and the fat lady was named Count Dooku.
That's right. And now we're in that top 4. Top 4 here. Nicholas God bringing another Turani Kolda, Captain Justero. Justero has those false transponder codes. And this is where, it also has a Black Sun. Now, never mind. We're going to change it. Black Fun Enforcer for that's the generic Star Viper. And then this is the super gross Torkel Mux with Zam Wessel. All right. So we had Turani pulling off that shenanigans with R5TK, shooting Torkel, canceling it, and being able to reset those charges with Zam. Being able to make people Initiative 0 with Torkel Mux, super good. If you have not looked at Torkel Mux, you need to. You gotta look at them. All right, it is a lot of points. Yeah, 58 points, but it is worth it. Being able to initiative kill something at initiative at 0. That top 4 game, by the way, I think was probably one of my favorites of the weekend. Really, really great. If you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and do it. Alrighty. We move on here. Joshua Richardson in the top cut as well. Top 4. Han Solo, Nora, Jake. I'm telling you guys, underrated list. Han Solo, Trick Shot, Kanan Jarrus, R2-D2 hull upgrade. For me, this is essentially standard. If you're going to bring a Han Solo and extended, you bring that. You guys have any arguments on that? I just feel like not enough people.
I have one argument.
Argue me.
It's not standard if you keep forgetting hull upgrade. For people who didn't watch over the weekend, Dion had quite the fun time every time hull upgrade was part of any list, whether it was Stephen Cotillo's Jedi Interceptors with Anakin and Obi, or this one with Han. It took us like 5 minutes to determine if Han was halved at one point in that game. It was quite hilarious. But Dion was right. He was right.
I was right. Followed by being wrong.
I'm petitioning for a hull upgrade alt art for GSP, to be quite honest.
Soon. Soon. And all right, now we get to our top 2, which we'll go ahead and we'll flip over to our Gold Squadron results page for this. Go ahead and read that down. The runner-up list, Ryan. Sasha Wagner, or Wagner, most likely.
Sasha Wagner running what Marcel did not want to fight and ended up fighting, which I think for the listening audience, Marcel ended up running his 4 RZ2 A-Wings, the Procket variation. But Sasha Wagner doing the double fire spray, becoming popular, very much so, using Jango Fett with Lone Wolf, Count Dooku crew, thermal detonators, false transponder codes, hull upgrade, and jamming beam, sure. Zam Wessel in the other fire spray with the Palpatine or Sidious, the flip crew for Force for Zam, thermal detonators and false transponder codes and jamming beam. No hull upgrade for Zam.
So good.
Watch out for false transponder codes on high initiative ships that all they need to do is target lock because they have Force crew.
I mean, it gives you almost fully modified, right? Modified enough. I'll tell you that. Modified enough. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think for me, what caught me off guard more than anything else was definitely the false transponder codes. I figured that out a little bit too late, and I started target locking the rocks. But I figured that out after I had already committed with Tally. And that's why I was confused when he's like, okay, I'm going to target lock you and get rid of your focus. I'm like, no, I target lock rocks. But no, I did that after the fact. So how good those things are that just no matter what I'm flying, whether it's just A-Wings or something else, and no matter whether they are low initiative or if they're low initiative, target lock rocks because they're going to get you early. If they're high initiative, even if you have to sell out a cheap ship, just zoom in as fast as you can, get your target lock, and just make that be like you decide who gets jammed and who gets killed. Because I didn't do that, and as a result of that, my most expensive and my most effective ship is the one that ended up getting annihilated. Where had I thought about it ahead of time a little bit early, I would have zoomed in with. I would have target locked rocks with my I-5s, and Merle would have just zoomed in as fast as possible to get that target lock. And if you kill Merle, I don't care. He's 30 points or whatever he is. He's super cheap. But anytime you see false transponder codes on there, just think about how you want to deal with it. Low initiative, target lock rocks. High initiative, take a cheap piece and serve it up and say, here you go.
It's funny that one of the best tools against false transponder codes right now is actually within the Separatist faction with Dark One probe droids. Get that far range lock where, all right, there goes your false transponder codes. I've locked you. I've jammed myself. We're not even engaged. Sensor buoys for First Order. If you're bringing a shuttle, you got some extra points left over, you don't care as much about a bid, throw sensor buoys on there and say, I'm just here to get rid of false transponder codes.
If you brought the E-Wings, I know that they're not meta relevant, but E-Wings, right?
There you go.
There you go. Somebody in the chat, Le Parte Bignare knew it too. Now, before we get to Patrick, go ahead.
There's a U-Wing, not Haftabra, not Cassiander. There's a Bodhi Rook. Allow your friendly ships to take a lock from any other friendly ship on the board. Jendon
has the far away, but spending Jendon for just to get rid of false transponder does feel a little bit bad. But if you got to do it, you got to do it.
Charges? Yeah, he's got 2 charges.
But I paid for both of those.
Only with one ever most of the time.
Awesome. Alrighty, and before we go into Patrick's list, our winner of the event. One of the other things we did at the Flight Club Qualifier is this entire event series, and we announced this during Galaxies that this change would be happening, but we had to keep Galaxies consistent because we started with 2-hour finals. But all of the finals in the Flight Club Championship Series and for Gold Squadron events from now up into forever, unless we can't for some reason, like we're doing an official event, which we hope to get back again in the future. But 75-minute finals, guys. Okay? Say it here. Say it loud. 75 minutes. No more. In your local stuff, start doing 75 minutes, and then hopefully we can get AMG to tweak this rule. We'll ask nicely. But I think if we can set that norm of 75 minutes, I think it will be better for the game. I don't think you guys have any arguments there, but I want to reinforce 75-minute finals. Hashtag 75 minutes.
I don't know, Dion. I've had some of the best fun I've had in X-Wing in a 2-hour final.
I have it right here. Lupin Chewy on my historic.
Question, Will. Did we go past 75 minutes in our game?
No. Oh wait,
Okay.
yeah, we did.
I wonder if I
I think you had
was
the
75.
table.
I think you had to lead most of that game, to be honest.
No, I think we were only like 15 minutes over by the time we flipped the table. So pretty well decided, I would imagine.
Just make a t-shirt, Dion. It's 75 minutes, and on the back, I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
You know what? 75-minute t-shirts coming soon. Soon. We got it's a campaign, all right? The one thing I want to get done in X-Wing, 75-minute finals. Let's go. All right. Now let's go ahead and hit the winners list. Patrick Hansen flying the Republic. And there is we have some what is the saying, crow to eat? Is that the saying? Will, go ahead. I think this is perfect. Will, please read the final lists.
B. All right, we'll get to that discussion in a second. Let me get the list read here. All right, so it starts off with a trio of Jedi Knight Aether Sprites. It's the I3 generic for that ship. With the 7B configuration, giving them that 3-2-3-3 stat line. With them is Luminara, and also in an Aether Sprite, but they have the calibrated laser targeting configuration, adding an eyeball result to attacks where the defender's in the bullseye. With the Astromech C110P Chopper, who can only give red evades, but also after he's given out 2 red evades, he can give out jams to ships at range 1. We saw a lot of that Luminara utilizing Chopper's jams to really prevent the modifications of these ships. Plus, in addition to that, being able to take the red evade early on, utilizing the 3 agility of the calibrated laser targeting configuration, plus the 2 force Luminar, and her ability, which we should read her ability here. She is the only named pilot in this final squad. I'm going to pull it up here so I can read it verbatim. While a friendly ship at range 0 to 2 defends, if it is not in the attacker's bullseye, you may spend 1 force charge. If you do, change 1 crit to a hit, or 1 hit to a focused result. So that ability of changing hits to eyeballs, combined with Chopper's jamming capabilities, really can limit the offense of any ship, unless they can somehow take multiple modifications. We did see it in the final where they essentially traded force, but Luminara used her force, and then Palpatine or Dooku, whichever one it was, had used their force just to convert it back. But in that dice pool, it was hit focus. So Luminara just sent, then Palp changed it back to us again. But that still negated out of the deal, even with those passive mods. under there. So very interesting squad, showing the strength of that chopper crew and some defensive capabilities for these. We always talk about their offense, but their defense is mediocre on the 7B configurations there.
All right.
And I think I do want to talk to you guys, but about calibrated versus 7B on the Jedi Knights real quick. Have gone away from the calibrated 7Bs because the 7Bs, it's just the damage dice you roll is more consistent. You don't have to wait around for that CLT. You can just, everybody shoots maximum dice all the time. Is that really what it is? It's the combination of them being low enough initiative not to get bullseyes, and because they're low enough initiative, the 7B's cheap on them?
It's the combination of that and the 3 shields, because if you think about, like, you're rolling an extra agility, but you're getting 2 extra shields.
So you're saying your 3rd agility should net you 2 extra evades?
Yeah, and so you're getting 2 extra shields, and on top of that, you're getting an extra offense dice every single attack, regardless of where you are. So it makes you, it just makes you a lot more. And we're gonna eat half a crow, because I know Ryan and I were talking about 3 Delta 7s and support. We were talking about a LAT as support, but we were saying during last week's podcast that 3 Delta 7s are legitimate good ships. And when here's an example of why you have, if you look at an X-wing, right? There's that one X-wing on the Rebel side. After you
Kill Beast Sparata.
Yeah, that one. After you boost, you can like flip your thing. He's so good because why is he so good? Because he can focus, boost, and then flip his arc. But he's got 2 agility and 6 health. That's 4 hull, 2 shields. These guys can double reposition every single turn. They can reposition and focus every single turn, or they can just move and have focus calculate every single turn. They have the same amount of health as the X-wings, but they have a better ratio of shield to hull with an extra shield. I mean, what's not to like about these guys? They're
it's really taking advantage of those. It's called fine-tuned controls, and pretty much is what has brought that ship, confirmed that ship as some of the best ships in the game.
So does this make you change your how you, not just these guys, not just Patrick winning, but I think Delta 7s were on like at least 3 or 4 lists in the cut. Does that make you change where you put them last week?
I think the key might be that Delta 7s for point value right now are more valuable on the lower initiative ships because it is drastically cheaper. Let me just make sure I'm saying that right, because let's see. 12 points for a I3, 16 for an I4, 20 for an I5. It's an 8-point difference for 2 initiatives. Obviously, I5 is a big deal, but you can get more of that lower generic or lower support style with Ahsoka efficiency with these I3 level 7Bs.
Yep. So basically, in our discussion, if you missed out, we had there's even a clip of it. Just go watch the clip where we just yell at each other about configurations. For a couple minutes. Anyways, so we basically had a discussion of whether CLT or the 7B is better. I think that we were just saying this, with mostly biased, but now we have actual data, recent data here, and I think that we could just agree that CLT, if you're not spamming it to 5, or you're not an I-5. You really can't take advantage of the CLT.
That's right. It's going to be you don't have enough area to spread with a single bullseye versus being, like you said, being able to spam them.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see what the 7Bs end up doing in the Sigma qualifier. And then what I'm really interested in is when we shift over to hyperspace, how will the role of the Jedi Knight change? Because I know the Jedi Knight is available in hyperspace, but are both configurations available as well?
Yes.
Both. So we'll probably see 7B Jedi Knights, but you will not have access to Luminara.
No, but you got other support ships. You got Shakti or you got a Lat. I think 3 Jedi plus support is still going to be very solid.
I like the Shakti version because you can get them some purple evades. They would have to take the purple evade, and then she can hold on to it for them. Best of both worlds.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what this list evolves into. And one of the things that always happens is when you have a list archetype that wins or gets close to winning, people react to it. So who's gonna try something with a little bit different flavor next week? Will we see the same thing? Maybe Patrick plays again. We don't know, but really curious to see what ends up happening in the Sigma qualifier. And I'm sorry, I did say next week. It's 2 weeks from now, February. The first weekend of February there. So yeah, super weird to see these Jedis really make a bigger impact than I think we all thought going into that qualifier. Now, a couple of really cool numbers that I want to take a look at. If you haven't poked around Pink Brain Matter, link is in our qualifier results page. Just go ahead and click on the data analysis. We were talking about the number 4. You remember when we went back, Ryan was talking about that triple Procket Imperial list. Okay. He put here, he has a column with the average list size per faction. So let me go through this really quickly. Average list size per faction: Rebels 3.7, Scum and Villainy 4, Republic 3.8, Separatist 4.8. This is the highest number. Spoilers, but it makes sense. They're primarily almost a swarming faction. Galactic Empire 4.2, Resistance 3.8, First Order 4.1. I mean, the average is 4 right now when it comes to ship totals. So being able to build a list that can deal with 4 ships is going to leave you in a good place. It's going to leave you in a good place, which is awesome. Now, some of the other really cool stats that I want to point out is we also have the most number of appearances of a ship. Trade Federation drone, 43 appearances of that. Not surprised there. M3As. This is the one I'm the most confused by. Only 18 cartel spacers when most of the time you're bringing 3 or 4. And we had a ton in the cut. Why aren't more people playing M3As?
Well, if you look at it, still 20% of the lists made cut. So even the other ones were making cuts because you saw Matt Carey's list, you saw Nicholas God's list. Scum's just got a lot of toys, and I think Zam adds that extra touch that allows a lot of these other lists to just really become viable.
All right, and one other surprise: what is a pilot that in Galaxies we talked about pretty often that didn't appear in our top cut at all? You notice somebody who just kind of disappeared?
Farrell for Scum?
We saw a little bit of Farrell. Where's Ray at?
Oh.
Where you at, girl? Ray, where are you at? No Ray.
Resistance was in fact a popular faction in the first place.
That's true.
Ray might have heard that people were flying 7 or 6, 7, 8 ship swarms.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with that.
Also, I would like to note that, let's see, Rebel Alliance. I have some issues with you guys. Why is Jake not the number one taken pilot? Why is Wedge taking more than Jake? What is wrong?
Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Wedge, 11 appearances versus Jake's nine.
Because Wedge is good.
Jake should be in there as much as Wedge, not less than Wedge.
I mean, see, I know people are saying Wedge is number one, but is he really? Is he really? What have you done for me lately, Wedge?
Correct. Also, Wedge, if anything, tends to probably have lower value the higher the ship count goes up because he's just more susceptible to volume of fire.
That's right. Now, I mean, just taking another quick peek at just some other little pieces of information. You can see the percentages here for total participation. It's great. If you haven't taken a look at Pink Brain Matter, it's awesome. Scum, number one unique ship was Nom Lom with 6 appearances. Republic's unique biggest appearance, Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Delta 7, 6 appearances there. Also Anakin in the Eta-2, 6 appearances. For the Separatists, we had Zam Wessel in that firespray, 8 appearances, was the most popular unique pilot. Galactic Republic, Darth Vader in the TIE X1. We had only one Vader in the top cut. That feels ridiculous and crazy.
If anything, most of the Empire lists in the top cut were all swarm-based between Sloane Swarms and the Lighten Swarm. What happened to the Imperial Aces, everybody?
Yeah, it turns out Vader doesn't like being double stressed. Really messes that dude up. Can't give in to the hate.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? This is, I think Nabi has a great point. Is the false transponder codes one of the reasons why you don't take Vader? The prevalence of them?
Any IX-1s could have a rough time if false transponders continue going up, and I only think their usage is going to go up.
Yep. They are very, very, very good value. As we continue looking down this list, in the Resistance, Poe Dameron in the T-70 X-Wing, 6 appearances. Do note, 0 appearances in the top cut. Poe, not S tier, my friends, not S tier. ZZ with 5 appearances. First Order Kylo, of course, is going to be the top unique pilot with 9 appearances as well. So some of the pilots I think that we're expecting there. A couple of top pilots not really making the cut. We'll see what adjustments get made. After going through all that, I would like each of us to kind of give one takeaway, something that you think that is important that our players going into the Sigma Extended Qualifier in 2 weeks need to keep in mind when list building for that event. What is we covered a lot of data, a lot of different things. I'll go ahead and go first. I'm going to start with an obvious one. Here's a beach ball. You have to plan for Zam. Plan for Zam. You are more likely to play against her than not. There's a crew form and a pilot, and you have to. I think you kind of have to decide early on whether or not you're going to consistently shoot her or not. Because one of the things that we did see on stream was people start to get hesitant, and as soon as the Zam player feels that hesitancy, they start playing the condition card that allows them, when not being shot, to flip and shoot you in that at the end of the turn anyway. So I think if you're playing against Zam, you gotta burn her down quick. Take care of that as soon as you can. Marcel, quick takes. What you got?
It's a quick take for me and a comment. I don't know if you saw for you. So the quick take is false transponder codes. Learn what they do. Learn when they do it. And for you, I saw earlier on there was a comment saying that tip of the week or whatever you call it, tools and tips. Make a video on false transponder codes, how they work, and how to deal with them at low initiative, high initiative, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Soon. TM.
Just have a plan against that card. You don't need to tech against it. Have a plan.
All right. Will.
As a generality, your list needs to be, or you flying your list needs to be able to have a plan for both a 7 or 8 ship swarm, but also a triple ace. We are still seeing both of those do extremely well in all variations, whether it's Empire or Republic or Scum. Same thing with the transponder codes. Just have a plan. Know what you're getting yourself into, and maybe you can find out a couple little tricks about. Some people fall into the same setup strategy, Marcel, where you're always going to deploy the same way. First, different targets, you might need to change that up, especially the two extremes, like a double Jedi list or a double firespray list. Then on the other end of the spectrum, the 8 ship or 7 ship Sloan Swarm.
All right.
I didn't deploy wrong. I played wrong.
Isn't deployment part of
You
playing?
deployed exactly how you always do. What could go wrong there?
Well, ZZ from that deployment could have like shot off and gone towards
Could
Zen.
have.
So I
Could
played it
have.
wrong. I didn't deploy it wrong.
Okay.
All right. And Ryan, last take for players to think about going into the next couple weeks.
Tracer missiles are going to become more prevalent, just like false transponder codes, both on the end of you maybe wanting to take them and dealing against them with your opponent. So on your end, if you're taking them, don't have them be the linchpin that, like, if they don't hit, your whole plan is ruined. Like, don't just bring a bunch of munition carriers and focus with everyone and think that your tracers are always going to hit. They're not as accurate as they used to be for those who played them in first edition. They're still just a 3 dice attack. Granted, they negate the range band, which is very, very good for a 3 dice attack. So it's really good against 2 agility unless it's not as reliable against 3 agility unless you have multiple of them. It's only modified with 1 token, whichever one you have, whether it's focus, calculate, or lock, unless you've acquired another token from something else. But if you are facing off against it, make sure you know should the tracer missile be the first target? Should it not be the first target? Sometimes when you're looking at it against, especially in like Alex Middle's Seek Swarm, depending on what you're playing can determine, should I go after the tractor beam, or should I go after the ion cannon, or should I go after the tracer missile? There's different effects and different ways people are going to bring it on the board. And while it may seem valuable to get rid of a multiplying effect of giving locks to your opponent, there could be a certain attack in there that might be a better first priority target to go after. So don't overdo it in your list building with tracers. They're an additive bonus, but not a linchpin, I think. But also don't overdo it on your target priority. Make sure you thoroughly analyze that in your early game and know what is actually going to hurt you the most.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed our show today. I know I have a fantastic time hanging out with Ryan, Will, and Marcel talking about X-Wing. One thing that we are asking people who are watching live and watching later, we do have if you're watching live, ! Feedback form in there. We're just looking for some feedback about the podcast, streams, events. We'd really appreciate it. We're just always trying to improve. And if you got good things to say, fantastic. If you have things that we think we can improve on, always looking for that feedback. But we will be live this Wednesday. I'm not sure what do you think we should do Wednesday? Should we play some of the best lists from?
I like the thing that we did a couple weeks ago, the gauntlet or whatever you call it.
The circle map?
No, not the circle map. The one where you have to build your list on the spot.
The GSP gauntlet. Okay. That was fun. What do you guys think?
Restrictions off of that? Like you had to build a list based off of certain restrictions, or I forget what was.
Yeah, like some of them were like 250 points, but you can only go as much as 4 ships, and then that's the one I played, and then there was other ones with other rules.
That was our mods coming up with that on the spot. Is that right, Dion?
Yeah, exactly. Our Twitch mods did that. So I mean, Twitch chat, if you guys want us to run the gauntlet, build that the squads on the spot, we could definitely do that. I know we had a lot of fun doing that. We could probably fit in 3 games if we run the gauntlet, just because we need that extra time for the. We do that. Now, some people have been asking us, I will say the Republic deep dive that we took a couple weeks ago, that is probably one of our most popular episodes to date. So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, in recent history, okay? So I think what we need to do is in a future podcast, we got to continue the deep dives. All right, we'll do another one. We're gonna put some space in between because there's definitely it becomes very dense. There's a lot of information there. So
not biased here, but I feel like with the arrival of Zam, Separatist might be the next thing to go after, especially with fire sprays jumping up, the dual fire sprays. Oddly, the faction thought to be the Swarm faction is now the faction running dual fire sprays quite often.
All right. Well, we will. We'll see what we're doing. You know what? I think Wednesday we're gonna run the gauntlet. Wednesday we'll run the gauntlet, and we won't know what the list building rules are until we have them in hand. Should be a good time. We'll talk to you later, everybody. Stay smart. Stay safe. Oh, I remember one other thing. Sorry, I just remembered a thing. Okay, Will's like, bye. Never mind. So, If you're my personal friend on Facebook, you saw that this Sunday I am scheduled to, I don't know if I'm the first of the 4 of us, I'm scheduled because I'm a teacher to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Super excited about it. I mean, it's a reality. I wanted to talk about it. I think I might live stream from my phone on Sunday while I'm waiting in line, hang out with you guys a little bit. And for me, I will tell you, I am excited because it is another step towards normalcy, and that is another step to being able to see you guys in person here soon. And Duncan Howard, Emperor of Medicine, tagged me in a post and said, GSP vaccinated invitational win, ? And I thought to myself, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. And Gold Squadron out.